Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval Creed. Today we'll be reviewing the first modern German battleship, that being Gneisenau. Now, this is very similar and is actually the sister ship to Scharnhorst, but there are quite a few differences in how she is. To start off with, she is a tier lower than Scharnhorst at tier 7, and she also has 15-inch guns versus the 11-inch guns that Scharnhorst has. So let's take a look to see what we have. We have 58,200 health, 23% torpedo resistance, so still not all that good torpedo resistance. Armor goes up to 360 millimeters, which is just over 14 inches, I think. Belt is about 14 inches, and the turret faces and barbettes and the conning tower are all pretty heavily armored as well. This is one of the few German ships that is actually slightly possible to citadel. I've only maybe done it a handful of times, but it is definitely not impossible. So yeah, her armor is really, really good. She sits really, really low to the water as well, but she also is a very big and long ship, so there's a lot of chunk damage you can take, and especially if you use small caliber guns like destroyer or 5-inch armor piercing in the bow or the stern, you can definitely get some good consistent damage there as well. And her guns, they are 15-inch guns. You have 2 double turrets in the bow, only 1 double turret in the stern. So you do only have 6 guns, which kind of limits your ability to be effective in a gun duel, especially since at this tier you're going up against Colorados and the Gatos, which have 8 guns and they're also 16-inch. So you're outgunned automatically there. But there's also you also go against French Lyon, which has 16 guns. So 6 versus 16, yeah, there's a big difference there. But these guns are pretty good. Good shell velocity, amazing high explosive piercing damage, and the fire chance is pretty good as well. However, I mainly just use 15-inch armor piercing. Gun range is 19.5 kilometers, and your secondaries go to 5 kilometers as well. You have, let's see, you have 2 twin 6-inch as well as 2 single 6-inch on all sides, and you have 3 dual purpose 4-inch on both sides, and then 1 dual purpose 4-inch at the rear. So a secondary build is possible. However, there are actually many different variations you can use of Gneisenau. So we'll get to that in a moment. She also has torpedoes, 6 kilometers, 64 knots, 13,500 damage each. You have a triple launcher on each side right here, just like Scharnhorst. These are actually relatively easy to destroy, so keep that in mind. But they are also very sometimes unexpected if you're going up against a new player who says, oh, it's a battleship, those don't have torpedoes, and then they take 3 of them and are destroyed. I had one of those experiences with Rodney when I first met her. I didn't realize she had torpedoes. But yeah, so Gneisenau is one of the few battleships that can have torpedoes. Her speed, 32 knots. She is the fastest German battleship in the game currently, and she does very, very well, considering you have Colorado and Nagato, which go 21 and 25 knots respectively, or about that. So you can outrun anything that has bigger guns than you. Leon's kind of a special case because she has 16 guns, but they're smaller caliber. Either way, the main playstyle of the ship is a brawler. You use your speed and your guns and torpedoes and amazing armor to just completely overwhelm anything. Now there are different ways you can build her. So the first one you could use is accuracy. Since you do only have 6 guns, your accuracy is kind of questionable at long range. Or you could use main battery enhancement, so you have more shells down range, or faster, I should say, and you can also turn the gun turrets faster. You could use secondary build to get your secondaries out there. However, I don't find the secondaries as effective as I want them to be, but it's still a possibility to use. Or the one I have is Aaa Defense. You can make your full AA, which actually might sound crazy, but is not, because look at those damages. 98 damage at 6 kilometers to start with, and then even the middle and inner ring damage is pretty decent as well. So if you do her or build her as a full AA defense, she can be quite effective actually, especially at this tier 7. You're running into Hiryus and Rangers, so having good AA defense will be very important. So plus sides, good armor, good AA, good secondaries. Downsides, small number of guns, accuracy, and maneuverability. So yeah, your turn not as good as something like, let's say, Colorado or a Nagato, but you can outrun both of those ships and actually just do entire laps around them. So with that, let's toss into a game and see what we can do. Alright, and here we have ourselves a game. We have a Hood, Colorado, Nelson, Gneisenau, Agano, Grashpe, Udachi, Fubuki, Udachi, Urjachi, and Leningrad. So quite a few destroyers. The Hood will be a problem. There's no easy way to take down a Hood, ironically enough. The cruisers I'm not worried about, and the destroyers I'm not worried about either. If I use high explosive on my 15-inch guns, it'll take massive amounts of damage on the destroyers, and the secondaries will be able to finish them up. I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied at this time, so keep that in mind. It's also very nice to go from the slow-paced battleships like Kaiser and Koenig and Bayern, and we are now at the fast battleships like Gneisenau and Bismarck, so very similar to the American battleship line as well. Alright, so we're making our way towards the battle here. Torpedo angles. Pretty good, actually. And even at this angle, you can bounce most, if not all, shells, depending on where they hit. Gun angles themselves. Your rear turret is not in the best position for good broadside firing. You will take quite a few pens at that angle, but you are able to angle pretty decently with your front 2 turrets, and then you have your torpedoes as well. Alright, so our long range is coming into effect here. I haven't actually played this ship in a while, so I'm going to assume that she has the same kind of shell velocity as Tirpitz. And maybe we'll get some good hits. Now I do have her focus for AA, not accuracy, and we got a seatbelt. And of course we didn't run into a carrier. That's alright. She kind of has a similar playstyle to Repulse. Again with the 15-inch guns. But Repulse doesn't get torpedoes or as good at armor or AA. But if you know how to play Repulse, then this is kind of similar. Okay, so secondaries are opening up. The ships at this tier have higher superstructures, so your secondaries are going to be more effective than previous battleships. Alright, let's see if we can take out this Grashpe. Gneisenau is a very good cruiser killer, as I can just demonstrate right there. And I shot down 2 aircraft so far too. I mean, obviously the strong point of this ship is not necessarily her AA, but it's a pretty good point as well. So enemy guys now. some good damage. Right, so let's start rushing some battleships and use our torpedoes. I'm going to focus my secondaries on the Gneisenau because I may be able to do a little bit of damage on Gneisenau, but not enough to actually make it worthwhile. And I can do a lot more damage to a Gneisenau, as you can see there. Right, so our torpedoes are relatively fast reloading. Get about 57 seconds, so I can launch these and have them reload by the time I get to the other two battleships up here. I cannot go through Nelson's bow because I do not have 16-inch guns, but if she turns just a little bit more, I can get a little bit of 10,000 damage. Ooh, and I cannot bounce 16-inch guns very easily either. So I have some more torpedoes. And then I was going to try and get Colorado with the other side, but I'm not ready yet. Ooh, Synchro. So we're going to use a heal. Focus our secondaries on the Nelson, honestly. And then let's see if we can torpedo the Colorado. Focus secondaries on the destroyer, if we can. Oh, that's whatever. And so now our secondaries on both sides should be fine. We're going to be taking some major damage from this Colorado here, so let's toss some torps out there. I like to hand deliver them, but my health is actually pretty low, so I need to try and get them out as quickly as possible. I think those are pretty good though. And then after this, we only have a couple destroyers to mop up. So you can see how your torpedoes are definitely going to be effective. There we go. Now I don't have any aircraft, unlike Scharnhorst. So it's going to be hard for me to find smaller ships like destroyers. Now in my speed, I don't have to worry about torpedoes all that much if I continuously adjust my course. But it does make them harder to find. I know one's over here. I have no idea where the other one is. Maybe they're both over here. Probably both Udachis. Hey, look, they are. Also, we have 5 kills. I didn't realize that. So we are detected. So one of them can see me, but Udachis are known for their extremely good concealment. So I have no idea where they are. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say on this side, because that's where she was headed last time someone saw her. Oh, no, she's on this side. She's smoked up. Probably gonna switch over to high explosive here. Let's do a... Oh, wow, that was terrible accuracy. Yeah. I didn't really expect that to hit, but... Alright, so now we have our high explosive loaded. She does not have a smoke screen, so any damage we do now, she cannot hide. And there's the other one. Awesome. Okay, so we have found both of the destroyers. We're going to rush them down so I can get into secondary range to help me. There are some really good hits. And it looks like we're going to be down here. Alright, well, the game's almost over, and we still got a secondary kill, so that was pretty good. So yeah, the ship is really good. As you saw, I was a brawler, just continuously using your guns and your secondaries and your torpedoes and your AA even when you can. However, your main downside is your maneuverability, because if you're really close to all these other ships, you have a long period of time where you're giving off your broadside. So that takes a ton of time to actually get around to a spot where you can angle against enemy ships, and during that time they can just completely get some major chunk damage on you, especially with those 16-inch guns that I was facing earlier. All in all though, you can have some really fun games in this ship. I prefer Torpedoes over Gneisenau, mainly because you have more armament, but they have very similar playstyles. Same goes with Scharnhorst as well. So let's see how we did. We had 266,000 damage, 6 ships sunk, 44 shell hits, 9 torpedoes, 5 aircraft shot down, 3 citadels, 3 fires, 3 floodings, 2 modules destroyed, 1 assisted cap, 4 defended caps, 276 secondary hits. That's a lot of ribbons. 8,400 base XP. Less than 8,000 damage was in high explosive shells, mainly because I used them at the very end. 111,000 damage was in armor piercing. Fires did 16,000. Floodings did less than 1,000 because bots automatically repair them. Secondary battery did 52,000 damage. Now, all the secondaries fire high explosive, which is different from what we've seen before, where there was casemates that fired armor piercing. Gneisenau only has high explosive secondaries. And then torpedoes did 78,000 damage as well. So your damage is split up between armor piercing, secondaries, and torpedoes for the most part. But yeah, the ship is really good, and it can be really fun. However, you just have to keep in mind that your accuracy is going to be questionable at long range. You don't have the maneuverability of other battleships, and you just don't have the number of guns that they do either. You're always going to be undergunned for the most part, but that doesn't mean you're a bad ship. So with that, I will wrap up today's video. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe for further content, and join me tomorrow while I go over the most possibly the famous British or German battleship, the Bismarck. So again, thank you for watching, and take care.